Okay, Mark, it's a pleasure to be here. So, morning, afternoon to all viewers. This might be new to some and old to others, so I may be repeating myself, but I'll be brief. Firstly, I guess who we are. So, OROSUR Mining is a Canadian company. We're dual listed in Toronto and London exchanges under the same ticker code OMI. We currently have a market capitalisation of about £35 million and about $2.5 million in the bank. So those are the key issues for any junior miner is cash in the bank. We are predominantly a gold exploration company. We have two major gold exploration projects, one in Colombia, the Anzá project, and one in Argentina, the Pantano project. We also have a lithium project in Nigeria, but I won't be talking about that today. The key issue with our two projects is that they're large. We have very large land acreage in both of our projects, which is key for exploration success. 400 square kilometres in the mid-Cauca belt of Colombia, that is a world-renowned gold belt, and close to 600 square kilometres in the bottom of Argentina in the Deseado Massif. So very key, very large tracts of land in key areas. Most importantly, as a company, we've somewhat broken from the pack in the last few months. We've spent quite some years just building our story, and all of a sudden in December last year, we began to emerge from the market. Share price increased substantially in that time, and we're beginning to get a lot more interest from larger institutional shareholders. We are a gold explorer, so I guess the first question is, well, why gold? It's a long story. Clearly, the gold price is, as we speak, at or near record highs. And I saw yesterday that the Goldman Sachs is predicting a price end of this year of well beyond $3,000 an ounce. Why is this the case? Well, again, lots of questions. Fear and greed. Inflation, government debt. A lot of governments around the world are looking to diversify away from US dollar denominated investments, particularly given the US seizure of Russian assets at the Ukrainian invasion. So there is that very large amount of central bank buying going into gold. And that, of course, increases the price, which then brings in speculation, and the price then goes beyond that. So the gold price looks to be stronger for longer, but it's a very nice place to be in the right commodity. Which then begs the question, well, if you want gold, then why don't you just buy gold? Central banks are buying gold. They will not buy gold miners. The point of buying a gold miner is that there's significant leverage, both upside and downside. A gold miner has costs to mine gold, and therefore an increase in the gold price will see an even larger increase in the price of the mining company. And explorers are that times two. So it's a question of adding a bit of leverage to the gold price and playing the game in a different way. And also, of course, by buying listed shares, it's a far more liquid asset than having to bury gold in your backyard. But of course, with reward comes risk. So that leverage does not come without a price, and it's upside and downside. We, of course, are a small company. We're not mining, we're exploring. Now, the issue, I guess, what makes us different is that at the moment, I guess, in Australia, Canada and the UK, there are probably close to 2,000 small mining or exploration companies. Now, without wishing to be harsh to my fellow miners, 90% of those are or have no assets of any value and probably never will. It's the 10% of those companies that make up all the value proposition in the junior mining space. And we'd like to think we've moved into that 10%. So the question, I guess, is, well, how do you tell the difference from one company from 10% to 90%? And that's really a question of geology. The point I make to any investors is that we're not making a product. We're looking for what's already there. And so geology ultimately always rules. It's either there or it isn't there, and we can't change that. So in a junior mining space, we move from the beginning of a concept. A junior explorer might have an idea as to what might exist in an area in terms of what they see on the ground. But then we start to drill, and the drilling will prove whether that concept's true or not true. And we've moved from the concept to the proof of concept. We began to drill at our project in November, and we've had nothing short of spectacular results since then. We've drilled 11, 12 holes. Every hole we've drilled has come back with quite astounding intersections of gold, high grade, from the surface. So we're at that very exciting phase of moving from a concept to now proving the concept. And now we move into phase 3, 4, 5 and 6, where we spend the next couple of years proving the concept, proving the size, identification of size, feasibility economics, and moving forward. So we're at that very interesting phase very exciting phase of having moved from nothing to there's something there. Now the question is, well, what is that something? This is our project in Colombia. We're just to the west of Medellin in northern Colombia. We have had the project for some years, but up until last year it was owned or it was run by some very large JV partners, Agnico and Newmont, which is the world's largest and third largest gold companies. They're leaving Colombia for political reasons. We reassumed control end of November and we began to drill immediately. And as I said, every hole we've drilled from that point to now has come back with a little short of astounding results. So that's got us noticed. The way the world works now, social media and communications, where the phones began to ring from people wanting to invest, wanting to give us money, which is a nice problem to have. So it's been a very exciting couple of months, but it's all happened very fast. So we're still getting a head around where we go from here, but as I said, it's a good problem to have. The key, I think, is to what's getting everyone excited is that, yes, the results we're getting are very exciting, but the question is now being asked, well, how big is this? And that's the question that will take some time to answer with drilling. It will take a year to drill. We've taken some geochemical samples across the surface, and so did our previous partners. And what we're seeing is that the area we're drilling is about a quarter of the area that we're seeing as being highly anomalous with ground geochemistry. Not certain, but what we're now seeing is that potentially we're seeing several times larger area of interest than we're currently drilling. So highly exciting, but we need to get out there and prove those concepts and begin to drill. So the next few months are going to be very exciting for us and investors as we move forward into those new areas that are as yet untouched, but the ground geochemistry is really looking quite exceptional. And then to the south, we have another project which is not as exciting. It's a much earlier stage. It's still the concept stage. We've been there for a few years. Again, this is a key mining district. There are gold mines down here owned by Newmont and Anglo Gold and the big companies that are absolute monsters. And we went down there 3 years ago when nobody wanted to be there. Argentina was a troubled country. Gold wasn't as sexy as it is today. And we picked up a large tract of land down there with some very exciting geology. And we've been quietly, over the last 3 years, just doing the background work, mapping, sampling, doing ground geophysics. And now to the point where we think there's something going on there. No proof of concept yet, but what we're seeing on surface gives us as much comfort as we can muster at this stage that there is something there. There are some geological processes going on that we believe could be very interesting. So we've just completed the phase one of that joint venture. We own half of it now, and we'll move forward to working there in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have two projects running in parallel. We'll have the project in Colombia, which is very exciting, more advanced, and now moving into the definition and size definition phase. This project could be bigger, but early stage. But again, having two projects running in parallel is extremely attractive. Where I think this positions us in the gold market is that what commodities are in favour changes year to year. I mean, lithium was popular a few years ago, now it's gold. What the companies lack is good projects. And we, as much by luck as design, have found ourselves in the possession of two absolutely world-class gold projects at the moment when the gold price is going, well, it's going nuts. So we're in a very good position at exactly the right time and producing exceptionally good results. And as a result, the share price is showing the response to that. So we are being noticed in the UK, in Canada, in Europe, North America in general. So we found ourselves very popular, which is a nice problem. The question, I guess, is what happens from now? As I said, we can't control what we find. And so what we do depends on what we find. And every day a new drill hole goes in and we adjust our workflow depending on what we find. But really it's just simple. We have one drill rig in Colombia at Pepas Prospect. That will stay. We will just drill and drill and drill, and that will stay there for a year. And we will do a hole every 3 or 4 days. So over the course of the next 6 months, the size of Pepas Prospect will begin to become better known, and that will move into, we hope, into the more economic phases of feasibility and other studies. So that's simple there. And we begin to then get that to the point where it's defined by all international standards of size and grade. So really it's just keep it simple, do the work in Colombia, do the work in Argentina, and just give this consistent level of high quality news flow over the next 6 months. And we move from there, and having a good project means that the world will keep paying attention to us. So that's who we are in a nutshell. I'm happy to expand to anybody who wants to give me a call or give me an email. My contact is there. I'm in an odd part of the world time zone wise, but I'm always happy to expand to those who have any additional questions.
That's great, Brad. Thank you very much indeed. Obviously, lots of exciting opportunities in front of you and in front of the company. I guess just to wrap up with, if an investor on today's call was to look back in a year's time, what progress do you think you'd like for them to see?
As I said, it's a difficult question because we don't know what we're going to find. But all things going well, I'd like to see that the Colombian project is much more advanced. In a year from now, we know roughly what we've got, or at least we know it's economic, that we've passed the hurdle. Yes, this is going to be a mine, and that's a key hurdle to pass at some point during the course of the year. It goes from being an exploration project to yes, there's a mine, and that's the objective. And then it's a question of, well, just how big is it going to be? So more information, more drilling, more metallurgy, more permitting, more feasibility work. We would like at the end of the year to have the market accept that yes, this has moved from exploration to there is a project there. And hopefully too, we would like by then also to have some drilling in Argentina that demonstrates that yes, that's gone from concept to proof of concept. So subject to geology, but if all goes well and we see all the right signs, that's our objective.